Hello, welcome to our video for today. So as you see, today is Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. Now, the word of the day is one that I actually had to look up because I don't write it very often and I was worried that I would spell it wrong. So it is spelled R-E-M-I-N-I-S-C-E. And that word is reminisce. Now, you'll notice that reminisce starts similar to the word remember, which is a good way to remember what it means, because it's very similar to the idea of remembering something, but it's a little more specific. To reminisce is to remember something that you yourself have done in the past, usually the distant past, and it's usually kind of a fond memory. So older people tend to reminisce a lot because they've had a lot of different experiences, and sometimes they just like to think back about how life was different when they were younger. So anybody who's older can relate to that. As a child, you might not really think of that, but you've already had experiences that you can reminisce about. So I think you can understand the idea to some degree. So as you can see, I've redecorated a little bit, and the reason for that is since I'm doing my report on Japan to show you how to do a report, I thought I would bring out some of the things that I've collected over the years from Japan, and it's just been sitting in a box, and I think it's time for it to see the light of day. So I brought out a few things just to show, and I'll be talking about some of them in videos to come, not necessarily all today. So when it comes to reports, a good place to start is with what you know. And we've done this several times in the classroom. When we start a new topic in the LUE, we would start with a KWL. And the K stands for what you already know, the W stands for what you want to learn, and the L stands for what you have learned by the end of the unit. So the interesting part about writing down what you know about something that you've had a lot of experience with is it's hard to know where to start. If I was to write down everything I know about Japan, I would basically have a report already. So I'm certainly not going to do that in this video today. But what I will do is I will share just a little bit about Japan, about some of the things I found, and tomorrow I'm going to get more into the specifics of what you would need to write a good report. So just to start you off, what I'm going to be talking about today mostly comes from this little notebook that I found when I was going through my things. This notebook is just about 20 years old and still in pretty good shape, so that gives you an idea of how long it's been and how much I reminisce, because these are some old memories here. This book was made by some Japanese students that I worked with. Now, just to explain a little about my time there, I went there for the first time when I was just about 20 years old, and I moved there in order to help people learn to speak English. So that was my job while I was there. I lived in a city called Osaka. Now, I don't have a big proper map, but in this notebook, I did find a cute little map that my students made for me. So as you can see, this is Japan. Now, Japan has a series of islands. The biggest island where I lived was called Honshu, and I lived in this city here called Osaka. Most people have heard of a city called Tokyo, where they were supposed to have the Olympics this summer. We'll get there. And it's not terribly close. You could get there on a bullet train in a couple of hours. So it's pretty far because that's a fast train. So I spent a year in Osaka teaching them how to speak English. So this is a picture of me from back then. As you can see, I was a little bit younger. Well, we all get a little bit older as time goes on. And the students that I worked with, two of many actually, I had a lot of students, but there are two students that I worked with there, and they made this little notebook for me. So I will share a little bit of what's in there. What they did was part of the book is talking about Japanese holidays, so I'll talk about that a little bit. A very important holiday in Japan is Japanese New Year. So as you can see, they've made some little origami decorations to go with it, and they've written in Japanese. There's something called a girls' festival. On the girls' festival, they have little dolls that are the emperor and the empress, and they often have more dolls that make up the court. And the girls have these set up in their homes, and they have what's a bit like a tea party because you serve Japanese tea and these little sweets, and it's supposed to bring good luck to the girls of the household. So that's something I actually hope to do with my daughter someday, even though I'm not Japanese. It's still a part of my own history. Now, this was traditionally Boys' Day, but it's become known as Children's Day over the years, and it's in May. And when they have this holiday, what they do is they have a pole at their house, and they put these fish known as carp. They're not real fish, of course. They're made out of a cloth or something, and they fly them there. They represent the children, and that's also for good luck. And while you may think that Japan is quite different, some things are the same. They also celebrate Christmas. It's not as big a deal as it is here. You don't get a day off for Christmas, kind of like how we don't get a day off for Valentine's Day here. But they do celebrate it. Children have a lot of fun with it. They have Santa there. And they actually, instead of having a turkey, they do a fried chicken on Christmas Day, which is kind of fun. It's a little bit different. So I think just what I'd like to share the most is that Japan is a very crowded place. It can be very hot in the summer and it can be quite chilly in the winter. It has many people, it has a really good train system, and it has ancient culture mixed with fantastic technology. It's a very, very interesting country, and I'm very excited to share more of what I know. I think I've reminisced long enough now. I don't want to make this video too long, but I hope you enjoyed seeing and hearing some of the things I know about Japan. Tomorrow we will take a closer look. Have a good day.